There's a mark on your life that the enemy sees and you might not, and why that cost is nothing compared to what's waiting for you on the other side. Thrown into prison for years, it looked like everything was going wrong. But here's the thing nobody talks about. The attacks on Joseph's life weren't random. They were strategic. Think about it. His brothers didn't just dislike him. They hated him so much, they threw him in a pit and sold him. Why? Let's be real about something nobody wants to talk about. Because they saw the favor of God on his life, and they couldn't stand it. Potiphar's wife didn't just notice Joseph. She fixated on him, and when he refused her advances, she destroyed his reputation. Why? Because the anointing on his life threatened the darkness around him. Even in prison, Joseph was attacked. Being chosen by God isn't just about blessings and favor. The cupbearer forgot him for 2 more years. Why? Because the enemy was trying to break him before he reached his throne. You see, the enemy doesn't waste high-level attacks on people who aren't a threat to his kingdom. If you're facing relentless spiritual warfare right now, it's not because you're doing something wrong. It's because you're dangerously close to your breakthrough. Let me bring this into your world. You're praying harder than ever. It's about sacrifice, but your mind feels under constant assault. Random attacks of anxiety, intrusive thoughts that don't sound like you, sudden waves of depression that make no sense. Or maybe it's more subtle. Relationships that suddenly fall apart, right when you're stepping into your calling. Financial pressure that hits out of nowhere, right when you're about to move forward. Health issues that drain your energy right when you need it most. These aren't coincidences. This is warfare. It's about standing alone when everyone else sits down. And it's happening because the enemy sees what God is about to do through you. But here's what Joseph discovered, and what you need to hear. What the enemy meant for your destruction, God will use for your elevation. Genesis 50:20 is Joseph speaking to his brothers years later. You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good, to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives. It's about fighting battles in the dark that no one sees. Read that again. The very attacks meant to destroy Joseph became the pathway to his purpose. The pit led to the palace, the prison led to promotion, the betrayal led to the blessing. Ephesians 6:12 tells us, "For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities." You felt it, against the powers of this dark world. You're not fighting your circumstances, you're fighting forces that see your destiny and are terrified of it. So here's your counter-strategy. Stop being surprised by the attacks. Start seeing them as confirmation that you're on the right path. When the enemy fights you this hard, it means you're dangerously close to something he doesn't want you to reach. So instead of retreating, press in harder, haven't you? Instead of giving up, dive deeper. Instead of questioning God's plan, trust his process. Your practical step this week: every time you face a spiritual attack, whether it's fear or doubt, anxiety or opposition, that weight, speak this out loud. This attack is proof I'm a threat. I will not retreat. I'm pressing forward, because Joseph didn't just survive the attacks, he used them to save a nation. And God is preparing you to do something equally powerful. Third truth, and this one hits different. Being chosen often means walking alone. That sense of being set apart. Moses understood this in a way most people don't talk about. Exodus 32 and 33 show us something profound. Moses is up on the mountain with God, receiving the 10 Commandments. He's in the presence of glory. He's experiencing intimacy with the Almighty that no one else is experiencing. But when he comes down from the mountain, the people are worshiping a golden calf. The very people he's leading have turned away, and Moses has to stand in the gap alone. And because of that mark, and maybe you've even wondered if it's worth it, he has to intercede alone. He has to make decisions alone that will affect everyone. That's the loneliness of the calling. It's not that you're antisocial or that you don't want community. It's that sometimes, where God is taking you, not everyone can go. Maybe you're feeling this right now. You're in rooms where you used to fit, but now you feel like an alien. If the cost is too high, you're around people you used to vibe with, but now there's this gap you can't explain. Conversations that used to excite you now feel empty. It's not that they changed, it's that you did. God is changing you, and that process of transformation often requires separation. Here's what this looks like practically. You used to be able to party with your old friends, but now you can't. If you made a mistake saying yes to God, not because you're judging them, but because you've tasted something deeper and those shallow waters don't satisfy you anymore. You used to be able to engage in certain conversations, gossip, complaining, purposeless talk, but now it drains you because God is calling you to speak life, and you can't do that while participating in death. You used to be okay with certain compromises today, but now your spirit is restless because the closer you get to God, the more sensitive you become to anything that grieves Him. And sometimes that means you'll be alone. At the family gathering where everyone's drinking, you're the one who isn't. At work where everyone's cutting corners, you're the one who won't. In the group chat where everyone's tearing someone down, I need you to hear this. You're the one who's silent or speaking up. Isaiah 53:3 prophetically describes Jesus this way. He was despised and rejected by mankind, a man of suffering and familiar with pain. If Jesus himself experienced the loneliness of the calling, why do we think we'll be exempt? But here's the promise tucked into that loneliness. You're never actually alone. You didn't make a mistake. Hebrews 13:5 says, "Never will I leave you. Never will I forsake you." When everyone else walks away, God walks closer. When the crowd thins out, His presence increases. David wrote in Psalm 27, "Though my father and mother forsake me, and the price you're paying, the Lord will receive me." Even the most foundational relationships might shift, but God remains. Here's what I need you to understand. The loneliness you're feeling isn't rejection. It's redirection. God is redirecting you from relationships that were never meant to go where you're going. He's creating space for the connections that are aligned with your destiny. And in the meantime, in the waiting, it's building something eternal. In the solitude, He's building something in you that can only be built in the secret place. Character, depth, intimacy with Him that most people will never experience because they're too afraid to be alone with God. Your practical step, instead of fighting the loneliness, embrace it. Set aside time this week, even just 30 minutes. Here's the first truth about being chosen: to be alone with God. No music, no distractions, just you and Him. Ask Him what He's building in you during this season of separation. Because Moses came down from the mountain alone, but his face was shining with the glory of God. And people will see that same glory on you when this season is over. Here's what I need you to understand. Every cost you've paid as one of the chosen isn't punishment. It will cost you comfort. It's preparation. The sacrifice, it's positioning you for a promise bigger than what you gave up. The battles, they're training you for a level of authority most believers never touch. The loneliness, it's creating an intimacy with God that will sustain you for what's coming. You're not losing, you're being refined. And the weight you've been carrying, you've paid a price others will never understand. Think about Abraham, its glory in formation. I want to hear from you. In the comments, finish this sentence. The cost of being chosen has required me to let go of blank. Maybe it's a relationship, maybe it's a dream, maybe it's a version of yourself you had to leave behind. Share it, because when you name what you've surrendered, Genesis 12, you honor what God is building in its place. And if this message hit you, send it to someone who's in the middle of their own costly season. They need to know they're not crazy. They're not failing. They're just being prepared for something greater. Abraham left his homeland and became the father of nations. Joseph was betrayed into slavery and saved a civilization. Moses stood alone and led millions to freedom. Your cost isn't the end of your story. One says God told him, it's the beginning of your legacy. Walk it out. The reward is closer than you think. Leave your country, your people, and your father's household and go to the land I will show you. Not go to this specific place with a guaranteed plan. Just go into the unknown. Imagine what that conversation must have been like. But what if I told you that every sacrifice, Abraham had security? He had family, he had a predictable life, and God asked him to trade all of it for a promise he couldn't see and a destination he didn't know. That's the cost nobody tells you about when you first say yes to God. You think it's going to be exciting, and it is, but it's also going to require you to let go of things you thought you couldn't live without. Some of you right now are living this. You let go of that relationship because you knew God was calling you higher. Every lonely night, even though everyone said you were making a mistake, you walked away from that career opportunity because something in your spirit said this isn't it. Even though on paper it made perfect sense, you changed your entire lifestyle because God convicted you, and now you feel like you're wandering in a desert. Let me tell you what Abraham discovered. What looks like loss to others is actually preparation for God. See, Abraham wasn't just leaving his country. He was leaving behind every limitation, everything you've let go, every ceiling, every small expectation people had placed on his life. And in that leaving, he became the father of nations, not because he played it safe, because he surrendered what was comfortable for what was possible with God. Hebrews 6:10 says this, God is not unjust. He will not forget your work and the love you have shown him as you have helped his people. Every sacrifice you've made in obedience, none of it was wasted. God has recorded every tear you've cried in secret. He's caught every time you chose his will over your comfort. He saw it, and he's not going to let it go unrewarded. But here's what you need to understand. Sacrifice isn't just about what you lose. It's about what you gain access to. Abraham didn't just lose his homeland. In the next 12 minutes, he gained the promise of God. He gained a covenant. He gained a destiny that's still impacting the world thousands of years later. What are you gaining access to that you can't see yet? Here's your practical step. Tonight, I want you to write down 3 things. This season of sacrifice has taught you that you couldn't have learned any other way. 3 ways God has been preparing you through what feels like loss. Because Abraham's obedience didn't just change his life, it changed history. You're going to discover why being chosen by God comes with a cost, and your obedience, it's changing more than you know. Second truth, being chosen means you're a target. Let me show you something in Joseph's story that most people miss. Genesis 37 through 50 documents his journey, and it's wild. Betrayed by his own brothers, sold into slavery, falsely accused,